There is no doubt that one of the most destructive emotions and sentiments of all is kin'ah, is jealousy and envy. When we are envious of others and cannot accept their lot as opposed to our lot, so many relationships fall apart and become sour and poisonous. In fact, we just returned from Poland, where our Mizrahi group visited once again the incredible grave of Avimelech of Lizhansk, the famous Hasidic master, and I was so taken aback once again that in his tefillah, which is emblazoned above his grave, he says one of the things we have to pray for is to save ourselves and others from being envious of each other. That we shouldn't be envious of others and they shouldn't be envious of us, because if we are, it destroys the fabric of society. One of the clear places, and first place in all of the Torah that envy is mentioned, is specifically in relationship to the land of Israel. After all, in parasha Toldot, it speaks about the remarkable success of Yitzchak. Yitzchak was supposed to leave the land. There was famine in the land, and instead God tells him to stay. And in a place where nobody could grow anything, he was blessed 100-fold. Me'asharim, everything he planted was blessed 100-fold. It says that in the Pesukim that he became so successful that nobody could believe it. All the experts were saying, how can it be that, so to speak, the barren mules, the feces of the barren mules of Yitzchak cause the ground to grow, and all of the money and wealth of the leader of the land, Avimelech, the king of the Philistines, can't cause this barren land to grow. It was a marvel. How did Yitzchak turn the land, the desert, within a time of famine, into an unbelievable oasis of blessing, whereas those around him were unable to do so? Instead of learning and being inspired from his example, in place of it, instead of inspiration, became envy. Instead of wanting to learn and grow, was simply to be destructive, judgmental, and not to take responsibility for their own lot. So too in the modern era, Walter Clay Loudermilk, one of the great agronomists who came to the land 80 years ago, and was so taken aback how many of these Jews from Western countries with no background in agriculture turned this backwater of the Ottoman Empire into the marvel of the Middle East. He said, becoming more like some of the most wealthier countries than like one of the most barren. And then, instead of people learning from the tremendous success and wanting to emulate it, into this gap and vacuum came kin'ah and jealousy, which of course no good can come. And it's my hope and prayer that just as then Avimelech and Yitzchak were able to somehow make up over the generations and be able to create a brit between them for generations to come, and learn from the example of inspiration and not be jealous of it, so too the tremendous success of the state of Israel in agriculture and so many areas of life in a most difficult environment over here should not be a source of envy and jealousy, but a source of inspiration, motivation to change the world in the most beautiful and comprehensive way. Shabbat Shalom.